Hello everyone, I hope you are doing good. So today we will be discussing an important sector which is the oil and gas industry. Will provide certain financial and technical basic concepts related to this industry. This is Professor Kais bin Abdallah from the Department of Civil Engineering of ISPRI. So the objective this course of course is designed to introduce civil engineering students to the fundamental concept of the oil and gas industry. So theoretical concept coupled with a practical case are presented to assist in understanding the oil and gas industry from technical and financial perspective. The learning methods and activity will be a blending of magisterial lecture and problem solution related approach, while the reference books are the essential of offshore structures, frame it and gravity platform, edition 2013, and petroleum reservoir engineering edition of 1960. The fundamental knowledge in geology, fluid mechanics, and soil rock mechanics, soil and rock mechanics are prerequisites for these lectures. So overall, we're gonna cover the energy sector, mainly driving investment driving factor. Then we move on to certain technical concept, mainly definition of oil and gas, life cycle of an oil and gas field, definition of petroleum system, geology, petroleum accuracy, and finally a problem, application problem. So let's start with the energy sector investment driving factor. This is in the left hand. We can see initially the preliminary energy consumption worldwide in 2019 as provided by BP British Petroleum Energy Review. And as you can see, among this spectrum, oil and gas represent more than 57%, which is almost 60% of our energy consumption worldwide. And on the right hand, this is basically investment needed to keep up with our energy consumption up to 2040. So we need to spend around 2.7 trillion per year, okay, from today up to 2040, in order to keep up and meet our needs. And again, the oil and gas represent an important part of those energy requirements. So, what are the major player beside the energy consumption or our needs or energy client? Of course, we will find the financial sector, which represented by JP Morgan Chase and here and production company. So whenever there are needs, the oil and gas company will seek financial support from the banks in order to initiate the exploration and production of oil and gas. So they are the driving factor of investment. They are demand, technology, and profit. So if they are in demand, there will be a lot of production. So that will be financed by the banks, and the profit that is generated will be actually used to improve technology. That in return will improve supply and improve the profit, etc. This is a reciprocal relationship. If there are no demand, there will be drop in profit and drop in investments. So let's move to certain technical basic concept. So what is the oil and gas engineering? Oil and gas engineering is a discipline concerned with the activity, of course, related to the production, finding, production, and economical assessment of oil and gas reserves. Usually, the life cycle of typical oil and gas field is divided to five. The first cycle will consist of exploration and research for oil and gas deposit. Second phase will be the definition of the volume of oil and gas and its characteristics. Third one is the build of the surface infrastructure needed to produce oil and gas safely. Fourth one is the extraction, processing, and exportation of oil and gas. And finally, by the end of the life of oil and gas field, we're gonna remove the surface facility, plug the wells, and restore everything to the initial state. So this is basically the typical configuration of different phase. Exploration, mainly using seismic survey in order to profile our geology systems and determine the depth of our reserve oil and gas accumulation. Drilling during the exploration phase to confirm the amount of oil and gas that was determined here. And if this is confirmed, we move on to the draft of the field development plan that contain all the technical and financial specification for the development of our discovery. Okay. Uh, Definition of petroleum system. This is the 2.3. Actually, mainly what is the meaning of petroleum? Okay, so literal meaning of petroleum is a rock oil. Word petra mean oil from the Greek word petra, and the Latin word oleum meaning oil. So petroleum is usually recovered through oil drillings and is a natural occurring flammable liquid that is consisting of complex mixture of hydrocarbon, mainly hydrogen and carbon molecules. So using like refining technique based in the boiling mechanism or by boiling point, we can refine our crude oil into a large number of consumer products like gas, fuels, bitumen, or kerosene that we use it for our trucks and planes. Okay, of course, we need to discuss certain geology in oil and gas. So, in order to understand the petroleum geological system, we need to define source rock and reservoir rock. The source rock, okay, is impermeable rock that is made of clay and carbonate organic rich mud, where like the insoluble organic matter known as kerosene is transformed into a fluid liquid oil and gas. So this is basically the genesis where the magic and the genesis of oil and gas is taking place. Then the reservoir rock, on the other hand, this is the reservoir rock. It is basically is a porous and permeable rock that is in communications with a matter source bed. Okay, so sandstone and carbonate rock form the overwhelming majority of the reservoir worldwide, unless we can find certain metamorphic rock can also act as petroleum reservoir. Okay, as you see here, because there are difference in pressure, our oil that was generated here will be traveling through any path like fault or fracture to reach the first permeable zone where it can accumulate. This trajectories, basically this traveling is called primary migration. And the second migration is the traveling of our oil within this reservoir rock. Okay, as soon as our oil that is traveling within the reservoir rock meet the first impermeable barrier, then it can't go any further and the oil and gas will be accumulated here. And due to the difference density, gas will accumulate first in the top, then water in the bottom, and oil is in the middle. Okay. This is basically the life cycle of oil and gas from sourcing up to accumulation, and of course through the migration process. Okay, the major catalyzer or is of course gradient different in pressure between the reservoir rock and source rock. Okay, so this is basically the geology and petroleum occurrence system. Let's move on to certain example. As you can see, this is the map of Tunisia, and this is basically geological layering. As you can see, most of the oil, like we find most of the oil and gas in Algeria and Libya. Of course, can be explained by the migration process. So as you can see, most of the oil was sourcing in the beginning in Tunisia. Then, due to the difference in the pressure, will be traveling like to the Libyan and Algerian territory. This is explaining why producing oil and gas is way more expensive in Tunisia than Libya and Algeria. So that's it for today, and thank you, and have a good day.